the Congress system. So we are saying today, let me tell you, today Kasoma Faruq of Uganda is putting a caveat on the Congress system. In other words, these are the real points about the achievements of the Congress system. Friends, we are saying the Congress system was about the series of meetings. It is said the diplomats, after the Vienna settlement of 1814 to 15, they came up with the Congress system. Series of meetings where they said whenever they had a problem, they had to sit and solve the problem. So we are saying today, the Congress system was a system of settling major European issues by meetings of the great powers that were in a permanent alliance. These powers were Austria, Britain, Prussia, Russia, and later France. So we believe by this time, the first Congress was the Congress of Aix-la-Chapelle. The chairman of 1818, the chairman was Prince Metternich. We had other key players in the room, among them Lord Cassole. We are like saying today, at one time there was the Congress of Trapo 1820, Laibach 1821, Verona 1822. But our hard discussion today, what were the achievements of the Congress system? So we need to understand the achievements. Number one, the Congress system protected the legitimate rulers. For example, Ferdinand the First in Naples, Ferdinand the Seventh in Spain, Louis the 18th in France. These ones were maintained in power. Let me tell you, the Vienna settlement brought the legitimate rulers again. But it was the role of the Congress system to protect the legitimate rulers, because many people in Europe were tired of kings. So we are praising the diplomats for maintaining and protecting the legitimate rulers, because many stubborn men wanted to rise up against the legitimate rulers. Another one, it maintained peace and stability in Europe. I can tell you by this time, we are realizing that many people wanted to stage revolutions. For example, people rose up in Naples in 1821. But the diplomats of the Congress system maintained peace and stability in Europe by suppressing revolutions, because the revolutions were disturbing peace. Another one, it protected the Jews in Europe. Let me tell you, the Jews did not have a permanent place, but it was the role of the Congress system to protect the what? The Jews. Many people wanted to rise up against the Jews, but it was the Congress system that it tried to protect the Jews. Another one, it suppressed violent revolts in Europe. I can say the violent revolts were suppressed. The revolts in Naples, the revolts in Spain, people were dying. But the diplomats led by Metternich suppressed these what? Revolutions. Because the revolutions were disturbing peace. You remember Napoleon, for him, it disturbed what? Peace. The diplomats were against any other person who was rising up to disturb peace. Another one, it is settled the issue of the Swedish debt to Denmark. By this time, it forced the Danish government to clear the debt. The Danish government had to clear the what? The debt. In this kind of arrangement, I can say many countries survive on debt, but the Congress system forced these people to pay their what? Their debts. Changes rising up. Another one, it maintained the balance of power in Europe. I can say today, balance of power had to be maintained. Britain, Russia, Austria, Prussia were supposed to be on the same what? Level. You remember Napoleon made France to be above other what? Other states. But for the first time, power had to balance. Praise be to leading thinkers like Prince Metternich, a man of all seasons. You could see him everywhere. In times of sunshine, he was there. Even in times of rain, he was there. That was Prince Metternich. Another one, it admitted France to the alliance of the great powers. You remember France had so many problems. It had to clear the war indemnity because they restored King Louis the what? The 18th. King Louis the 18th tried to clear the money which France had to do what? To pay for the problems it caused in Europe. By this time, after settling their problems, I can say France was allowed to join the Big Four. The Big Four became Big what? Big Five. Quadro Alliance became Quintuple Alliance. Changes rising up. Praise be to a man called Lord Kasole. It needs to be celebrated. Another one, it laid the foundation for future international peace organizations. The future international peace organizations that came later, like the League of Nations, United Nations, were inspired by the Congress system. That's why we are honoring the diplomats of the Congress what? System. Let me tell you today, only wise men were invited. Half-baked thinkers were not allowed to in the room. Only leading thinkers. Let me tell you, politics is for thinkers. Politics is for thinkers. Another one, it maintained the aggressive Napoleon I to exile and prevented the rise of Bonapartism to power for somewhat, for some time. I can say by this time, Napoleon aggression was controlled. It was not easy to stop the aggressive nature of stubborn minds like Napoleon Bonaparte. Another one, it promoted trade and economic cooperation among European countries. I can say Napoleon disturbed trade through the continental system, where he refused the countries to trade with Britain. But for the first time, European powers allowed all countries to join the Congress what? System, and by this time to trade with one another. Another one, it promoted constitutionalism in Europe. For example, the restored Bourbons in France were given a constitution. This was the constitutional charter of 1814 constitutional charter. What was in the constitutional charter? They had to respect the rule of law. Praise be to the diplomats of the Congress system. The leading thinker was Prince Metternich. This man deserved to be celebrated. I can say his name is supposed to be celebrated and it deserves to be mentioned several times. That is the Prince